In a parking lot outside a roadside amusement park called Mondo a Go-Go, a 12-year-old boy is on his knees in the dirt crying. It is not the kind of crying we have ever seen this kid do. For 6 seasons of television, this was the loud one. The kid in the yellow Hawaiian shirt with the slicked back hair and the fast-talking salesman patter. He had spent 6 years extracting quarters from the kids in his neighborhood with cardboard contraptions that did not work and pretending each new failure had not happened by morning. Now he is on his knees. Every kid he has ever lied to has just watched him be lifted by his ear and used by an older man as a blunt instrument to slam his best friend Ed into the ground. The older man is the one this kid had described for 6 seasons of television as his brother. The older man looks nothing like the brother had ever been described. That older man is now lying unconscious in the dirt after Ed pulled the door off the trailer and threw it at his head. The cul-de-sac kids, the kids the loud one had been performing for, lying to, failing to scam for 10 years, are standing in a half circle around him. Nobody is laughing. Nobody is moving. And then the loud kid speaks. The voice is not the salesman voice. It is not the schemer voice. It is small and shaking and 12 years old. He tells them he made it up. He tells them his brother is not cool. He tells them his brother does not love him. He tells them he had been lying about all of it for years in front of all of them because he wanted them to like him and he had nothing else to give. Then the credits roll on the whole show. That is the last 6 minutes of Ed and Eddy's Big Picture Show, released by Cartoon Network on November 8th, 2009. The series finale of one of the longest-running original cartoons the network ever made. Which is strange, because the scene is the entire thesis of the show. The question is this: how does a children's comedy about 3 boys and a cul-de-sac end with a 12-year-old crying in a parking lot about an impression he can no longer maintain? The show had been telling us in every episode exactly how. We thought the kid was annoying. We were paying attention to the wrong things. Let's go back. Eddy and Eddy ran from 1999 to 2009 on Cartoon Network. 3 boys in a town called Peach Creek. Ed, the lumbering, kind-hearted one who eats buttered toast and worships chickens. Ed, Double D, the brain in the sock hat. And Eddy, the shortest, the loudest, always running the scam. Of the 3, Eddy is the one most viewers never figured out where to put. Ed is sweet, Ed is decent, Eddy is greedy, loud, vain, abrasive, controlling, and bad at most of what he insists he is excellent at. Most of us agreed. Eddy was the annoying one. We were here for the other 2. And the show, for 6 seasons, was running a small, quiet argument underneath. Not as a defense of Eddy, as a diagnosis. We kept missing it because the diagnosis was hidden inside the thing we were rolling our eyes at. The argument: Eddy did not have a personality. He had an impression. Strip the noise away and look at him. He talks at a clip a 12-year-old does not naturally arrive at. He gestures like a used car salesman. He uses words like moolah and doll face, vocabulary lifted from a man 2 decades older. He carries himself like someone who has watched, for hours, an adult man who knew how to take up a room. Now ask where a child gets all that. The answer was in the show the entire time. It lived inside another character, mentioned by Eddy in nearly every episode, but who never, for the entire 10-year run, appeared on screen. He was Eddy's older brother. You could not get through 3 episodes without hearing about him. He was, in Eddy's telling, every adjective Eddy himself was trying to be. Cool, funny, tough, loved by the ladies, drove a Cadillac, knew the original cul-de-sac scams, knew the patter, the moves, knew, importantly, how to talk like that. If you only listened to Eddy describe him, the brother sounded like a small-town legend. Like the older boy every younger boy looks up to, who left home for somewhere better, and who Eddy was now keeping the family flame for, single-handedly, in a cul-de-sac that didn't believe him. This is the part most people miss. Eddy was not being raised by his brother. Eddy was being raised by an idea of his brother, and the idea was running the show. There's a thing that happens to children with only one adult-shaped figure in their orbit, one who has also shown them, often, that taking up space requires a kind of theater the child is not yet equipped to perform. The child does not have the luxury of waiting to grow into themselves. They have to start performing now, because the alternative, the costumeless version, the small, soft, real one, is the version the household has already told them in 100 small ways will not be enough. So they grab whatever is closest: a brother, a father, a coach, a kid one block over who got there first. They study his vowels, they study his shoulders, they study what he does with his hands, and then they wear him. There is a clinical name for what this becomes as the costume hardens into adulthood. It is called imposter syndrome. It is widely misunderstood. Imposter syndrome is not the irrational feeling that you are a fraud when you are competent. Therapists are sometimes gentle about this so people don't break. Imposter syndrome, properly understood, is the quiet recognition by your own body that the voice you have been using is borrowed, that the room you walk into and dominate is being dominated by a person you assembled in childhood out of older men, that the laugh, the volume, the gestures, none of them have been audited by you in a long time. You only know that you cannot remember a version of yourself underneath. The feeling that you might not be the person you are performing is not a defect of perception. It is a small, accurate signal from the part of you that has not yet been replaced. This is the diagnosis the show was offering. It is also the diagnosis the show proved by doing the thing most lives never do. It showed us what was under the costume. In Big Picture Show, the Eds run. Eddy's latest scam has destroyed the cul-de-sac. Every kid in the neighborhood is hunting them. Eddy's only plan is to find his brother. The brother will fix it. The brother is, in his telling, the answer to everything. They cross the country. They find Mondo a Go-Go, a coastal amusement park where Eddy's brother apparently works. They find the brother's home. It is a trailer shaped like a whale. There is no Cadillac. There is no driveway. There is a novelty trailer parked at the edge of a roadside attraction off a highway. The brother opens the door. He is bigger than Eddy. That is the first and last impressive thing about him. He works at a tacky amusement park. He lives in the whale. He is mean. He starts hurting Eddy within 90 seconds of recognizing him. He laughs while he does it. When Ed tries to step in, the brother picks up Eddy's body and swings it into Ed. This is the man the legend was made out of. Every Cadillac Eddy described, every joke he stole, every laugh he forced, every quarter he extracted from his neighbors in a yellow Hawaiian shirt. All of it was an impression, 8 hours a day, 10 years long, of a man who turned out to be a small, cruel adult living alone in a fiberglass whale, hurting his little brother for fun, because that was the only place in his sad little world where he still got to win. That was the inheritance. Here is the thing that makes the show actually devastating when you go back as an adult. The cul-de-sac never bought it. The other kids never respected Eddy. They never thought his scams were cool. For 10 years, they watched him show up in a yellow Hawaiian shirt with a fast-talking pitch voice and tolerated him at best. The performance had been for nobody. 6 seasons of impression, 6 seasons of imitation. The performer was the only one in the show who didn't know. So go back to the parking lot. The brother is unconscious. The kids are quiet. The loud one is crying. The costume is on the ground next to him. For 30 seconds before the credits roll, we get to meet the actual kid. The small, exhausted version that had been pinned under the impression for 10 years. He says he made it up. He says he just wanted to be liked. And the kids who had chased him across a country to get even with him for ruining the cul-de-sac, go quiet. They do not laugh at him. They do not punish him. They have just watched the loudest kid in Peach Creek finally use a small voice and tell the truth, and realized, possibly for the first time, that they had never actually met him before. Neither had we. If you have ever stood in front of a mirror before a meeting or a date or a conversation you didn't want to have and put a face on, Eddy is the version of you that didn't have a mirror. He had a brother. The brother was nobody. The costume was the whole self. Ed and Eddy was on the air for 10 years. Most of us watched it and rolled our eyes at the kid in the Hawaiian shirt. Most of us, in our own way, were already wearing one of our own. We just hadn't been pulled out of it yet by a fiberglass whale and an unconscious man in a parking lot. If you can still hear somewhere underneath your own voice somebody who is not quite you running the room, go back and watch the parking lot scene. The show was always going to land there. We just had to get old enough to see it coming.